it's Drybear. The days are marching by and we're getting closer and closer to season 3 of The First Descendant. However, there was kind of this question of like, when is season 3 going to line up and what can we expect for the season itself? Obviously, there are a lot of in-game timers like the Battle Pass timer, some seasonal timers as well that suggest that all of these things would come to an end on June 18th. And typically, as is in the past, they just usually have the patch scheduled to be the next day. And so many people were hopeful that season 3 would launch on June 19th, following the end of all the in-game timers like Battle Pass, that sort of thing. However, there were some rumors, and they had mentioned this about 2 months ago. Some people in my chat are super vehement about them doing season 3 on June 19th. They did mention that they would probably delay it, and they also are doing their 1-year anniversary with the start of July, that sort of thing. So today we got some confirmation from the devs that the season 3 will not be launching in June. It is not on June 19th, so let's talk about that a little bit. So in game, we know we have timers like on the Battle Pass as well. It says time remaining 15 days, so you can see this kind of counting down. By the way, just make sure that you are completing all the challenges for the Battle Pass, because it looks like it will end on the 18th. So if you're trying to get all of these Battle Pass items specifically from the Battle Pass shop, you want some of these cosmetics for these characters that have these like certain looks and things like that, just make sure you hurry up and get that done. So go to your challenges, go to your weekly challenges and complete all the ones that have the supply coins on them to get that done. So we have several timers that are showing this time remaining on this as well. Also, there are still in-game events that we're seeing too. So if you haven't finished your login daily for Beyond Sigma Sector or Albion Special Dispatch, you want to make sure you get those done. There's only 22 days left on this, which means there aren't enough days if you started today to get the final one. But if you have been keeping up with it, make sure you log in. So from this standpoint, it leads a lot of people to believe that they will be doing season 3 on the 19th when this timer ends and the Battle Pass is over. However, the devs have confirmed that on Thursday, June 19th, they're working on the external component core system and a long-term login event to come into the game. And they're also working to implement a balance patch ahead of season 3. So they don't have like any major details on this balance patch, but it sounds like June 19th will be a new additive system that goes into the game, plus an event and also a balance adjustment for some characters or weapons going into that. However, the scale of our current updates may feel a bit modest, but we want to emphasize that each of these steps is part of laying the groundwork for a stronger and more complete season 3. So season 3 will not be launching on June 19th. They do have a dev stream coming up soon in just over a week right now. So we'll be able to get probably a confirmation date for season 3 there. But if you were expecting season 3 to hit with the end of the Battle Pass, it looks like that's not going to be the case. Now that still leaves questions on, are they going to extend the Ice Maiden Void Abyss? Are they going to extend the rewards for the Battle Pass? Are they going to extend whatever events they have in game that were kind of based on that? I haven't seen anything official from the devs on that standpoint. I feel like if they do, since they're extending the launch date of season 3 to be past the end of all these events, I think it would make sense to extend all the current events to the end of season 2 and the start of season 3, which would give people more time to get those rewards and farm things out and get everything that they need. But at least from that standpoint, we are getting the core system for the external opponents and a long-term login event, kind of like the bunny one we had that lasted, I think it was 90 days or something. They had 3 months to finish it, and then also a balance patch ahead of season 3, and they're focusing on laying the groundwork for season 3 in general. Now, I kind of like, I don't know if I'm just becoming like a little bit, like chip on my shoulder for TFD, but I feel like the external component core system kind of worries me. Obviously they added like the weapon cores to the game, which had a big impact on how things work and that sort of thing. So like you have those options there to really bring things to life based on what you're coring out and what you're using. And then they also added in the arcade tuning to the board as well. So now we have this consumable item that you can farm and drop that you can socket into your weapons. Then they added a consumable item that you farm and drop that you add into your arcade tuning. Now they're adding a consumable item that you farm and get from drops that you socket into your external components. And I don't know how far this is going to go. Are we going to get a consumable item that you farm that drops that goes into your reactors? Are you going to get a consumable item that you farm and drop that goes into your modules? Like, how far are we going with this whole trend of farming a consumable item that you place into an existing system to make it marginally stronger, or in the case of weapon cores, significantly stronger. Now, there's definitely a lot of Descendants that certainly need like some kind of balance changes. Hopefully we get some nice changes for some of the existing characters. I think there's some quality of life cleanups for characters like Vieso or Valby that are, currently strong characters that have a good showing, but they have some awkwardness in their kit that make them a little bit harder to use. Luna is definitely a big one for that, a contender for that as well. But also, it would be really cool to get some characters to like brought back into the, into the foray. Some updates to Haley would be really nice. I think they plan to do potentially some like module updates for her, and obviously once we get Ultimate Haley, they might have a nice impact on that as well. Eugen needs a rework in a lot of ways. Getting some updates for Enzo too, especially with Nell coming out. Some updates for Esimo to make him even more viable. Kyle, like, it's kind of crazy that like, do you remember when we had the Kyle one-shot bug? And that was like patched out in a day, but when Serena one-shots everything, it's perfectly fine. Things like that, I feel like they definitely could bring up. There's definitely some things about Sharon I wish that they would clean up and buff a little bit. Jaber just needs a seventh attempt at trying to buff him and rework him to get him to work well, and that sort of thing. I think there's definitely a lot of characters that could use some love from the developers, and let me know what your predictions are for the upcoming balance patch for these characters and weapons that might be adjusting how the characters play right now. And there's also plenty to look forward to when it comes to Season 3. We know we're going to get expansion of Enzo and Nell's story, and also getting back to the main storyline in the First Descendant, which is around, Karel and like the Iron Hearts and things like that. It's like the main story progression. We know that's going to be happening in Season 3. We know that Best Girl Nell is a playable Descendant, and she looks awesome. Very like underworld vibe, Kate Beckinsale kind of vibe. Very cool looking character, and hopefully we'll have a really strong showing. Historically, there's good signs that Nell is going to be strong, hopefully, and kind of fills that role, and potentially even maybe some reworks to Enzo in the process. We know Ultimate Luna is on the way as well. We're not really sure. They haven't confirmed whether it, what the order of content is going to be for Season 3. Generally, there's like one Ultimate and a character that they show, but the ordering of them might change. It probably is the case that we'll launch Season 3 with Ultimate Luna, and then within episode 1 or episode 2, that's when Nell comes in. It could be the case that that's the reverse, that we start with Nell, but Ultimate Luna and Nell are not going to drop in the same patch. They generally like to stagger their seasonal content. Let me know what you think. Like, is Ultimate Luna going to be first and then Nell, or vice versa? A new Legion, the Legion of Breach, coming out is pretty cool. They got some strong vibes. This one looks like a tiny head Gordon Freeman. They got some like tech vibes and like some monster vibes coming out of it, which looks really cool. The 8-player raid with the Wall Crasher has a lot of promise as well. I really hope that this isn't like one Serena destroys Wall Crasher by herself and then 7 other characters are in their bikinis bouncing on the exercise ball in the corner while Serena does all the work. I hope they actually make this a meaningful siege encounter where you're able to engage with it, and it does require some teamwork and collaboration. And also I'm a little worried that there's going to be some performance concerns, because even now, even on like current gen consoles or some PCs, people are running into FPS issues and server side issues with 4 players. If there's a lot of spam, like you get 4 ultimate Freynas in a match with that runaway process of contagion, it can cause a lot of server lag and issues. Hopefully with 8 players, double the amount of players, VFX, meshes, deployables, all of that, it doesn't cause performance issues, but overall this seems like a really cool addition. We know we're getting the Cyberpunk 2077 apartment where Descendants can visit you and you can hang out with them. I think the look of it looks really clean and cool. It definitely feels like the apartments scenarios that you get in Cyberpunk, where you just you take your favorite character back to your room and you hang out and have fun. We'll see how this works, but they're calling it the lounge and has some really cool implications for the future, and it's kind of a nice addition. We also have the hover bike coming as well. I think this is going to be limited to Axion planes only, like it'll be the only place you can use the hover bike, but having a vehicle is a really cool addition to the game as well. There's a bunch of implications for this, and I'm sure they had to put a lot of work in to making the hover bike function as part of the normal game process. And again, I'm guessing it's going to be limited to only the new zone, and the new zone is probably going to be laid out in a way, level design wise, like the LDs went through and made sure that it's viable for having a vehicle. But again, a nice addition coming soon. I'm guessing that Season 3 is probably going to be like July 2nd, July 3rd, something like that. We've got swords coming, melee weapons weapons, true melee weapons. This one on the left looks like it's from Wuthering Waves in general, but there's a lot of question around how they will implement this that they haven't answered. You know, will they have their own set of modules? I feel like that makes the most sense. You're not going to use like general rounds increase or like converting rounds if you're using a sword, but I guess they could do like Final Fantasy VIII style cartridges where you have to load in ammo capacities for these weapons. I feel like it's kind of weird for a melee weapon, but we'll have to see how they actually implement them and what the actual like visual for it is. But if this works and is implemented well, it means that we can get more melee weapons in the future, which could be really awesome. And we know that the A2 and 2B skins for Nier Automata are coming to the game as well. I also have a strong feeling this won't launch with the first patch. Like, my prediction is that it'll be July 3rd for the start of Season 3. It'll be Ultimate Luna and Axian Plains, and then they'll do an Episode 1 with the Wall Crasher and Nell at the same time, and then maybe an Episode 3 that has like these collaboration skins and maybe some updates to the system, or maybe we'll get another consumable item that drops that we can socket into our existing items to make them marginally better. That will be like another extension of the system, but I'm guessing this is going to be later on, but they could also launch Season 3 with this as well. And we know, as is shown here with Inez, I think they're all going to be global skins used for all the females as well. And it does look like they come with their own weapons, and this one here, having A2's weapon, I think they'll also have a sword skin. So it seems like they will have some sword skins that go along with using the swords that come into the game, along with these universal female skins that will go for the females as well, which all of that I think is a really cool addition too. And of course, they're celebrating their 1-year anniversary. They said they have a lot of events planned for this as well. They want to make the 1-year anniversary feel really cool and really special. But I thought it was worth an update to confirm that they are not launching it. I know some people have expectations about when Season 3 will be, and I know a lot of people that are big TFD fans are just waiting for new content, something to, you know, sink their teeth into and really explore. So they said they're taking the extra time to make sure Season 3 is as good as it can be, and it's probably not going to be in June at all. We're looking at probably like a July 2nd, July 3rd update. But again, in about a week, we'll be getting a dev stream that might confirm those dates for us. Just note that even though we have in-game timers and events that line up with June 18 end, so potentially a June 19th patch, that June 19th patch will not be Season 3. It'll be some balance adjustments and potentially some new systems, kind of like the mutant cells coming into the game that, you know, may just be something to play around with, but isn't going to be a seasonal level change that you will explore and play around with. So let me know what your expectations are for Season 3, what you're looking forward to most. There's a lot of cool things on the horizon, new characters, new ultimates, swords, bikes, new big bosses. The Wall Crasher is supposed to be twice the height of a normal Colossus. So if you look at, like, you know, the Ice Maiden, her height, double that for Wall Crasher. He's going to be a big mother trucker. So hopefully that all kind of comes together and feels really good. But yeah, let me know where your head is at with Season 3 for the First Descendant. If you found value in today's video, leave a like down below, leave a comment for the algorithm to help this video get seen by more people, and don't forget to check out my other channels for other content and other stuff and other things.